Hi everyone, welcome to the Learning Library Online. Today we're going to be doing some basic searching and providing you with some tips for using the database CINAHL. So let me share my screen with you. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the Learning Library homepage. So that is nipssingu.ca/library. You can also get to us from the Nipissing University homepage. Just scroll to the bottom and there's a link for the library, or just simply search for us online. The way that we're going to navigate today is simply using this A to Z database listing. So if we go in here, you can see what it's showing us is the 326 subscription. So those are paid databases, as well as open access databases that are available to Nipissing and Canadore students and faculty and staff. Right now, what we could do is go under C for CINAHL. We can also start narrowing down right from the beginning. This is showing us all the different subjects being studied at Nipissing and Canadore. Maybe we want to look at specifically the health sciences options. And from here, we can use that alphabetical listing for C and scroll down to CINAHL. And make sure you choose the option that's the correct one for your particular school. So select the title. And from here, this is what a lot of the EBSCO databases are designed as. This is the advanced search page, and they've conducted it so you can plug in your different keywords. So if you're using a evidence-based search strategy such as PICO or SPIDER, that kind of a framework with your assignment, you can take those keywords and add them in. When we add in a search term and then we use these terms which are referred to in research as Boolean operators, there's the term and, there's the term or, and there's the term not. If you use the word and we put two different subjects or keywords in here, that will narrow your search down, okay? If you add in the word or, that's going to broaden your search. So think of the word or as adding in more. And I'll show you an example of that in a minute. And the word not is kind of self-explanatory. It will hopefully disengage any of those words that you're not wanting to have in your search, okay? So I'm somebody actually who personally has to deal with arthritis. So I thought I'd use that as my search term today. So arthritis, and you'll see that even now they're using this great drop-down menu where it's giving me those or options, maybe osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis. And that's actually the one that I'm afflicted with. So this may actually work for me. It does not mean that those are the only words or those are the perfect words or the right words to use. It just means someone else has used this while they were conducting their search, okay? Another tool I want to point out while we're in the EBSCO databases is this little My EBSCO option over on the side. Now, if you are starting out new and you've never used an EBSCO database before, you can go in and you can, right now I'm signed in, you can see I'm already signed in with my name. But if you weren't, it would give you an option for either logging in or setting up an account. And if you want to create your own account, you can do that. And you would do it with your own login and password, whatever you want. Your email does not have to be your school email. It doesn't have to be affiliated with any of those things. So log yourself in and I will show you why that tool is going to be so important in the future. Okay. But right now, let's go back to our search. We've got our arthritis terms in there. Let's conduct a search with just that for now. Okay. And as you can see, I've come back with 131 plus results, 131,000 plus results. That's way too many for anybody to do research on. And this is going to run the gamut of any kind of topics to do with arthritis. It may not specifically be about the kind of search that you want to conduct or the kind of research you're doing. And it also may not fall into the right timeline. It might not fall under peer-reviewed journals, which maybe is something you need. So let's go back to our advanced search and let's add some more of those details in. So let's narrow down our search to start with. I may be thinking about a certain therapy that I used to have when I was a younger child, when I was diagnosed with this. So they used to put ice packs on my joints when they were in pain. So maybe ice therapy or ice or cold therapy, all those options might work. And those seem to fit from what I know as a person who's had to deal with this. That kind of terminology matches what I know. So I could certainly just conduct the search with that. But the other great thing about EBSCO and CINAHL in particular is there's all these options to limit your results. Maybe your professor has told you they want you to only use information coming from a peer-reviewed journal. We could simply select this box, and it's now going to only show us those kinds of results. I only speak English, so English language results are probably going to be beneficial for me, okay? The other thing that might be important, and maybe it's always good to go back and look at your syllabus and what's a particular tips your professor has provided or requirements they've required for your assignment. Maybe they want you working within the last 12 months. They want it to be very, very up-to-date information. Maybe the past 5 years or the past 10 years is fine, or you can set up a different date range, whatever works for your particular assignment. I'm going to choose the past 10 years. And now when I do this, I'm going to be only seeing results within that time frame. Peer-reviewed journals, English language, and within the time frame my professor has set up for me or that I'm interested in. If I conduct that search now, you remember we were at 131,000. We're now down to 74 results, which is much, much better for me. It allows me to focus in on my subject more. It allows me to be ensured that it's coming from peer-reviewed journals and also that it's within my time frame. So let me go down. If you need a few, maybe 5 or 10 articles, or maybe 2 or 3, you're not going to simply pick the first 3 in the list, right? You are going to go through, you're going to read the title, see if it matches something that you're interested in. Ice water immersion. This is about dogs. I'm maybe not interested in dogs. This one is cryotherapy, protects neuromuscular junctions. Maybe this is something of interest to me, but you know what? This is telling me mice, so that's also not something that I want. When I go down and I actually look at this one, this looks a little better. The title looks good. Let me open it up. We want to look at a little more details from it. We want to see things like who the authors are. You can actually go into each one of these authors and see where they're affiliated, where they maybe work. You'll see down here the number 1 matches these number 1, and that will tell you where they work. Sometimes it will give you information like where they were educated, things like that. It falls within my time frame, so always check that. And you do want to make sure major subjects, they're actually using this term cryotherapy, which I'm not familiar with, but I might keep that in mind later. And this is a great thing for you to know. The major subjects is the major key topics that's being covered. Minor subjects, the minor ones, but it also might give you some other keywords that you maybe didn't think about for yourself, okay? Now, the other thing you want to do is look at things like the abstract. That's the little description of what the database or what this article is about. Make sure it meets your needs, okay? But we're not finished here. What we do need to do is actually get to the full text of the article and make sure that we can get access to the full online text. And there's my PDF for it. And if I open this up, I can see what the article looks like, okay? So things I always want to check, even when I get to this, I want to make sure this isn't something where it's only like a little blurb that's 1 page long. Our research articles are multiple pages, so you want to be sure. You want to be sure it's showing things like results or maybe descriptions or methodology that they used. They sometimes will provide you with statistics, and they should be very clear as what they're showing you. With the graphs, the same thing. And at the end, you should definitely see a list of references or citations where they got their information to start their research. Those are all components that are required for an academic level paper, okay? When you're using articles that need to be peer reviewed, that means they've gone through this process where different people have reviewed it and made sure it's accurate. But you also want to be sure that you are seeing all those elements that are available. And you want to be sure if this does not provide you with a PDF drop down right here, it may say available at your library, something like that. Follow those links or these get it buttons, and that will take you back to our records in the library and give you access to other databases where maybe we have it. If you're ever not sure at this point, you could simply use these tools up at the top where you could pull the citation down. This will give you, make sure you're using the style that you are required to use in class. So APA might be the one, most likely you're using in health sciences, but make sure you're using the correct one. This will give you the citation for this particular article. I do want you to always go back and check it against your guide or against the citation guidance your professor has provided. Your professor is the one that's marking the assignment, so you'll always want to be using what they tell you to get the best results for your assignment, okay? If for some reason you get to this page and you can't get through and get the full text of that article, using this record right here is not enough. You have to have that full text so you can write your thoughts and you can use it within your paper, right? Talk to our front desk staff. You can go to that homepage of the library and there is our email and our phone number there. You can drop in if you happen to be here in person and talk with our staff, okay? The last tool I want to show you is we're going to go back to our advanced search page, and I want to show you something called CINAHL headings. And this is something that's similar to, maybe you're familiar if you've used something like PubMed or Medline. It's a controlled vocabulary. So you remember I used that term ice therapy when I did my search because that's the words I thought of as a general person of the public. I didn't know what the, health related fields might use as the term. So when I go in and I look for this, if I see ice pack therapy, it says use cryotherapy. And that was that term I didn't know, right? So let's select for cryotherapy. I want to learn a little bit more about this, and this tool allows us to do that. Cryotherapy will give you a description, right? Based on their controlled vocabulary. So it's telling me it's a local or topical application of cold for therapeutic purposes. That's exactly what I want. And this is what that term is used for. So cryotherapy is used for all of these different terms. So it's going to really broaden your search, okay? It's going to give you some related headings. It's also using what's referred to as a tree numbers, and that's something that's used within MESH subject headings as well. It's showing you a view of how it falls within the field of medicine in this case. It's falling underneath of therapeutics, right? And if we scroll down, we can see all the different therapeutics there are for all different types of illnesses and ailments. Cryotherapy. And if I go back up and look at this box, for example, it's either a major concept or we could explode it. And that's going to be, I want this to be a major concept within my search. It's one of my main keywords that I'm looking for, right? So I would select for that. And then they're giving us all sorts of subject headings or subheadings. So that might be something where narrowing it down, maybe you want to look at it only from a nursing perspective, right? Maybe that's something that's required in your assignment. Maybe you want to look at it from legislation, maybe from history. There's all sorts of ways that this might be beneficial to help you narrow it down. But getting to know these MESH headings and this tree, or in this case, the CINAHL headings, because we're using particularly CINAHL, that will be helpful to you, okay? So if I went back in and I tried cryotherapy for my search, I might get quite different results, but it might be very close to what my topic is that I was looking for. So hopefully that'll be helpful. And lastly, the thing I do want to show you as well, let's suppose we use, we're going to add this in, we're going to add cryotherapy to our search. So there's my cryotherapy as a main subject heading, and we're going to use arthritis again. Let's make sure I spell it correctly. Or arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, that's fine. And I do my search. Let's see if we got different results. So we're down to 47 results, but we're into much closer results to what I need. The other thing I should have mentioned too is we could actually go down in these different types of narrowing or filtering fields. And there are sometimes options for you to put in if you want it to be human subjects versus you saw that we received, results from research that was conducted on dogs or on mice. So those things are something to think about too. Okay. Now, let's suppose I wanted to use, in this case, because we have a short amount of time here, let's just suppose we want to use this article and this article, and now I want to add that to one of my projects that I have. I could add it to a project, and I can go in and choose my projects, which I have set up, and select for cryotherapy and add it now. And what that means is if I go over here on this dashboard, I can see that, and this is from being logged in through the My EBSCO account. Remember, I can go over, I have several projects set up in here, and I can see now, here's my cryotherapy results. Here's my nursing and nursing students in virtual reality, dental caries I've looked up hydrotherapy, and I can go in and now see there's my results from my searches or those articles that I've put a favorite link on or collected for this particular topic. And lastly, I can also save articles in here. I don't have to put it in a project. And I can also see recent activity. So that's going to be my search history. Okay. So if your professor is asking you to look that up, it's going to be the time that I'm logged into this particular My EBSCO search. But I can see here's the different searches I conducted today while I've been with you. Okay, so this is where we could now download the search result if we wanted to. If we select for this, we can also use this as you can select these options and you can combine them with and, or you can combine them with or, and you can really take control of how you conduct your searches. So I hope all those little tips help you. That's the basics for CINAHL. If you do need some more help, you can always touch base with the library. But this is really going to be giving you the basics. It's not going to obviously fit your exact topic you're looking for, but I would recommend going in and practicing with something you know about and go from there. So let me stop sharing my screen, and thanks so much for coming out. As always, if you need our help, we are here to help you out. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.